Hey, what's up, YouTube? Hey, today I've got something super special for you guys. I'm going to try something new with my channel, and I'm going to try to interview some of the, I don't know, big names, legends in our industry, maybe some up-and-comers, things like that. But today I'm going to interview a guy named Steve Pattie. He's been a mentor of mine for a long time. I've learned so much from him over the years. He actually grew his company to 13 million. Now his two sons run the business. It's called the Pattie Group. They've won more awards in the Cleveland area than anybody else, really. I mean, just super, they're synonymous with super high quality work, super high quality design build projects, things like that. You know, they do very high, just high quality stuff. Anyway, he has since retired from his company, and he's basically a full-time consultant now, which he's been working with me for many years, actually. He's been a mentor of mine since I don't even remember when. But if you like this, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like my channel, hit subscribe. I'd love to have more subscribers. Who wouldn't, right? So anyway, without further ado, check out my interview with Steve Pattie. Let me know what you think. Thanks. All right, so we're gonna do something new today. Don't look at the camera. Justin says don't look at the camera. I actually have a camera guy, so there you have it. Yeah, right there. So we're gonna do a interview with a legendary guy.
Legendary guy.
Legendary. He was an influencer before there were influencers. A mentor, my mentor, for how many years? Like, long time. Since inception. He's been my mentor and also the owner of the Pattie Group, which was a ginormous company. Like, tell me how much, what were you guys doing? Like, what was your sales when you were running the company? And
Well, my goals when I was younger was I wanted to be the one-stop shop for everything for landscaping, which took years to build, but we finally did it. We were a design build firm, we were an architectural firm, landscape architectural firm, and a maintenance company. And then we had the boys, when the boys came to the company, they started Landskeepers, which was a commercial landscape company, which I was never into.
yeah, you were all
High-end residential
high-end
was
residential.
our MO.
And you guys won more awards than, like,
We won a lot of awards.
tons of awards.
National, state, and local awards, yeah.
And what were your sales, like 12 million?
12 to 13 million
Yeah.
is what we averaged.
And that was like when 12 and 13 million dollars was a lot of money.
And you actually made a profit back then.
Yeah, it made a lot of money. That was,
15 to 18% profit is what we fluctuated between.
and just for history, for just a little bit of history, like you were president of OLA, right?
President, that's going way back, yeah.
Yeah.
President of OLA.
Weren't you president of now? NALP? Or
I
was Planet?
I was on the board for 5 years for, how many different names have they had?
Yeah, it was Planet back then, now it's
No.
NALP. But industry leader, like you've spoken all over the
I spoke all across the country with them.
all across the country, which is a funny story because now I speak across the country. A lot of it's because of him, because I learned so much from him. But I always ask people, even when I'm in, and I've told you the story, like when I'm over, even when I was speaking in Canada, I ask people, who's heard of Steve Pattie? And like, there's always people that raise their hands in the audience. Always, everywhere. In Canada, in Denver, like everywhere I've spoken.
Well, I have 3 consulting jobs in Denver, so that was,
Yeah, you did a big company in Denver.
Yeah, I several big companies out there. That's a booming place out there.
So Steve's been doing consulting for how long? Long time. I mean, in addition to running your company.
18 to 20 years. I coach about 18 companies a year.
18 companies, that's a lot. And that was the inspiration for me because I run a smaller company, and that you inspired me to start doing this because I do the consulting along with my brother.
Do you do several regular ones?
We've been doing, we don't have like regular, we do a lot of one-off things where we do little events. Like we got an event coming up in August, which I'll tell you guys about later. But it's been, I just saw what you were doing with it, and I thought, well, I could, I've learned so much from you over the years and been able to parlay that into helping other companies as well. Which I think when we, yeah, I think when
I
we
learned just as much from the smaller companies. In fact, it's refreshing to hear what they're doing to stay lean and mean. That we have to stay lean and mean. As you get bigger, you get fat and sassy.
Yes, and I know that I had that fat and sassy issue because I ended up
I can
getting
verify that.
Yeah.
Fat and sassy.
fat and sassy. And you get to that point and you're like, oh, I'm doing great, and then you get complacent, and that's where then you're in trouble. You don't want to get complacent.
Well, the biggest problem I see across the country is people aren't doing their budgets, they're not tracking their financials, they're not tracking their jobs, they're not tracking their crews, they're not tracking their enhancements. You've got to understand what you've estimated and what is actually happening in the field. And that's what people don't do.
So, like, what advice do you have for like a smaller company, like say like a 2 or 3? Because I think a lot of people who watch my channel are smaller. Like, what would you say to the guy who's maybe trying to get to that first million? Like, what would you say are some of the steps maybe that
You'll never make it there unless you have the financial, set things up financially so you can read things how you're doing. And number 2, you got to start right from the beginning. You start to build your structure of your company. You need your key people. And you won't need them right away, but you have those positions. The first thing I would start with is probably your employee organizational chart. It sounds elementary at first, but it is a key way to analyze your employees and what your needs are. And it also shows when you bring people in to interview them, and it shows them that the company has structure, and they know who they report to and how they can grow in your company. Those are critical. They sound like nothing, but they're a big thing for employees. And today, our biggest problem is we can't find employees.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I mean,
and
people
we can't keep them. Retention is terrible too.
It's super hard.
Yeah.
And so then what about like when I said to you, because we had this conversation years ago, like you said, well, get an org chart. So I figured out, and I do have a video on org charts. So if you guys want to check that out, just look in my old videos on how to build an org chart or an organizational chart.
Oh, perfect.
So check that out. But one of the things you told me when we first got together,
How many hats you wear?
How many hats I wore?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I
was
was
wearing 32 hats the first time I met you. Then it got down to 16 hats, and you can only handle efficiently about 5 or 6 different hats. Other than that, everything starts to collapse.
And my thing to you was, like, how am I going to afford it? Like, I can't afford to hire a key person. I can't afford an office manager.
And you can't afford not to. It may be scary at first, and it is scary. Until you hire the right person and you see them starting to do an excellent job right out of the gate. So you have to pay more, and especially today, we're paying way more than we thought we'd have to, but that's the only way you're going to get solid employees and good employees, and someone that you could train and grow with. The other thing we don't do is train. No one puts any time into training. We hire somebody and throw them out in the field and say, do it. And then we wonder why they can't do it, because we don't train.
I think because everybody's just in reaction mode. You know, we're trying to get the work done, and I think that I've learned from experience that taking, and from working with you in the past, is like taking the time out of your day to prepare for the training. Proper planning, yeah.
Goal setting and proper planning is critical.
Yeah, goal, and that's a huge thing you're a proponent of. The goals thing. I mean, the goals are huge.
Once a week, you should sit down and plan. You need 2 hours to sit down and plan your next week out. And then once a month, you need to sit down and analyze, am I spending my time in the right place, the most important places I should be spending my time. So you need to track your time properly so you know what you're spending your time on. And usually once you analyze it, you'll see that I'm spending my time on foolish projects.
Yeah, because you're the highest paid. I mean, if you're the owner of the company, you're the highest paid person on staff.
Yes.
So if you're out there picking up blades, or maybe you're out there, buying 2-cycle oil or things, like running around doing that kind of stuff, you're basically
not planning properly, you're not delegating properly.
Yeah,
and once you're a CEO of even a small company, you got to think of yourself as a teacher and a trainer. Someone should be shadowing you. We just had this conversation about an hour ago. Mm-hmm. His son needs to shadow him so he understands how to do some of the analyzing of the company, tracking of the company, that type of thing. But someone has to be you need to be constantly training and teaching your staff. And that's what doesn't happen again.
It doesn't happen. And if you've got 1 or 2 employees, it's really hard. Because I think that you're trying to do, like, you're wearing all the hats, you don't have time to think about it. But I can tell you from experience, like growing my company up to what I've grown it up to, it takes that time of you stepping back and becoming a business owner. Yeah. And if you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with being a one-man operation. If you want to do that for your whole life, that's cool. But if you're one of the people that want to grow your business, there's so many people that I know out there that are just dying to, like, get their company to a point where they've got several employees, several crews, and you're building on that, then you have to take this stuff in and really start working on your business now.
Well, it was me watching some of the old time companies where the owner was doing everything. As they got older, 35, 45, 50 years old, and they couldn't function, they lost their companies. That's what scared me into building a organization, not just a landscape company.
That's that's a great point, because I broke my leg. That's why I started growing Southwest, because I broke my leg, it was like our third or fourth year in business, and we almost went out of business because I couldn't do the work. Like I was literally like, my dad was out there doing all the work, and he couldn't handle it. So after that, I decided I need to make this into a real company, like something that will function without me being there every single day.
And the other thing you have to think about is 50 years down the road, you have to retire. And if you have an organization with sales staff and employees, they can run the company when you're gone. In fact, one old timer says, you have failed to build a company if it dies when you die. So the only way that it doesn't die is that you put an organization together. You hire sales staff, you hire estimators, you have a crew, you have your crew leaders, you have your operation managers. You need these key people that will keep the company running when you're not around.
And it starts with one. Like what he just said is, I know that sounds like, oh my God, it's like, well, how am I going to do that? Like, how am I going to get all these? Well, you start with one. You start with one key person, either your key foreman.
And yours was what?
My key was my first key person was my office manager.
That's right. I had to force him to hire an office manager.
Yeah, he did. And I almost doubled the company in 2 years after that, because I was able to do so much more, with having her on staff. And I've had a full-time office manager ever since.
So even if you concentrate on one key person a year and say, I'm going to go after this person this year, and you concentrate on that, and you hire him in the fall, train him over the winter the best you can. There's so much to train him on. There's plenty of the things on the computers and on the equipment to train them on what in the wintertime. A lot of people say, well, I can't hire him in the wintertime, I can't keep him busy. Well, you have to think differently.
Well, yeah, the training too. I mean, if you think about it, like if you're watching this video, you already watch YouTube, right? So there is stuff out there for training. Make sure you're watching the right stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't even take, like back in the day, we didn't have social media or anything like that. We had to rely on, manuals and things like that to train people. But now there's so many resources out there, so you can do that. You can get somebody. So tell me, what are some of the biggest, I mean, you've had a huge career. I mean, you've built your business. Now you're somewhat retired, but you're doing the consulting thing.
I'm trying to keep my mind busy. Retiring is not what it's chalked up to be. Yeah. In fact, it's mind numbing, really. It's a exercise in creativity every day on what am I going to do today.
That's because you got so much energy.
Yeah.
Because when I meet with him, my head's like.
I don't mean to do that to you, but I get excited because I see so much opportunity here.
I know.
And there's opportunity everywhere if we just step back and plan properly.
But what are some? So you've been super successful and everything, but you've had your down points too. Like, what are some of the mistakes that maybe you made that maybe we could teach?
Number one mistake. I mean, I was in business for 50 years. Now the boys run it. But after 20 years of sitting back and analyzing the company, I always would state that my number one problem was not doing more employee testing on to help you put the right person on the right seat on the bus. It's critical when you have 100 employees and you have 25 key employees. Those key employees have to be in the right place. Mm-hmm. So the employee assessments is a tool that most of your bigger companies use, but it's something that is affordable. I mean, if it costs you $150 to have an assessment done to say, will this person be a good operation manager? Does he have the potential to be a good salesperson? Those tools are out there, and it'll tell you within 80% of the time, this person is a good hire. And sometimes 90% of the time. It's a good test. So that was my number one mistake, that if I would have done that right the first time, I wouldn't have been changing key employees.
And it sounds daunting, because I know what people are thinking, oh my God, I can't even find anybody, Steve. Like, now you want me to test them? But the other side of the coin on that is, you get them in here and you bring them in and you spend time and energy on them, and then they leave.
If you they say it's 10 times the cost of their wages. So if you hire someone at $50,000 a year, or $20,000 a year, and it costs you 10 times that to retrain someone all over again, That's what, don't they say 7 to 10 times is
Yeah.
what they cost if you lose an employee?
If you lose an employee.
So you need to, what we do is we hire too quickly and we fire too slowly. When someone isn't hitting their deliverables, and that's the other thing we don't do, we sometimes write out job descriptions, I think. Sometimes we write out job descriptions, but we don't take the time to write out job deliverables. Job deliverables is actually, how am I gonna measure you to find out if you're good or bad? You should know it, the employee should know it, and you should know it.
Absolutely, and I think as owners, a lot of times, we don't take the time to do that. We're
No.
too busy, we're just like, we wanna get to work.
You're wearing 17 hats,
Yes.
that's why.
And-
If you wore your 5 hats, you would be doing it. Or you'd be working with your staff that aren't doing the right things. Like your son is, there's 1,000 things you have him do, incredible things.
Yes, and the thing, and what he keeps saying, I'm wearing all these hats because I just lost a key person about 2 months ago. And I have not replaced that person yet because I'm taking I guess I'm kind of reanalyzing it and deciding what I want to
He's
do.
procrastinating, to
I'm
be honest.
procrastinating. But bottom line is he's right because and I know it's scary, like it's always scary to hire that person because you think, well, I can't afford them, I don't know what I'm gonna do, how am I gonna,
It takes too
keep
long
them
to
busy?
train them, I can do it faster myself. But the thing is, you're not growing your company then.
Yes, and I can say from experience, like right now, I'm so freaking busy because I'm doing 2-3 jobs, and I can't keep doing it. I've got to stop doing
Well,
it.
you take on too many hats and you start failing in almost every other hat. So you actually go backwards.
Yeah, and then you can't deliver what you promise the customers, and
Yeah.
you can't take care of your employees, and it just gets very overwhelming.
The other thing I could say that was a big help for me is every phase of my life I had a mentor, and a mentor is someone who's already done where I wanted to go. So if I saw, like, when I was a $500,000 company and I was struggling to get to $1 million company, I would look for a mentor that could help me, guide me in how to become a $1 million company or a $5 million company or a $10 million company. There's mentors out there everywhere, financial mentors. Even the government has great, SBA has free coaches, that retired CEOs that can help you. There's 1,000 ways to get help and inexpensive help. But mentors are usually honored. If you ask them, can you mentor me? They say, most of them will never say no.
And you've worked with, I know you've like Frank Mariani.
Oh, yes.
A lot of key people in our industry that are doing, 30 million, 50 million.
If you're not in the associations, the national associations and your state association, it's a big mistake.
Yeah,
You
learn
start
more.
there, you learn who are the go-getters and who are the cream of the crop. If you're a joint association, those are typically the cream of the crop in the area. When you join your national association, it's a cream of the crop in the country. And you hobnob with them and you learn and you go visit them. When I was younger, every year I would go visit 3 top companies in the country, and you'd come away with a wealth of knowledge every time you go visit them.
Yeah, and you can do that. People will show you their facilities. Like I remember one of the first facility tours I went on was yours.
Was ours? Yeah.
Yeah, with the OLA, and I remember that. I remember getting off the bus going, "Oh my God,"
Well, one year we had 272 companies come through our company.
That's
Naturally.
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. We finally had to say we have to start designating times.
And we do that. We're doing that here. We had a facility tour here, and I think the one year that was the year Frank Mariani spoke.
Oh, yeah.
He came here and spoke here, and we had a nice facility tour and had a couple
Mariani
hundred
came
people.
here?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he is amazing. If you guys don't know who Frank Mariani is, he owns a company in Chicago. They're like
60 million.
60 million. He's a leader, and I bet him he's a great guy.
And he gives back all the time.
He gives back all the time.
Constant share. Yeah.
So maybe we should kind of wrap it up. So what, anything else, like what other parting thoughts do we have for our
Well,
YouTube audience?
don't get overwhelmed. Step back, take some time once a month and analyze what's my number one problem, and tackle one thing at a time, and then work on building your staff, your key staff. Because without them, you can't grow your company. There'll be periods where you think you're under control, but you know it doesn't last very long. But don't get overwhelmed, and join your associations is what I would say as a starting point.
Just get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you have any questions, send questions to.
Send questions. You guys, I'll still be doing that 5 on
We're
Friday
trying to
thing.
do this maybe every 3 months or
Yeah.
4 months. We'll try and get together and answer questions if you want.
That would be awesome. Yeah, Steve comes in. He lives in Florida now.
I'm in Florida now,
In
right?
Florida now in the nice weather. And we're still here in Cleveland. So, but I work with Steve all the time. So, yeah, other than that, hey, thanks for watching. If you guys like the content you're seeing, make sure you hit like. If you like Steve, I don't know, you don't have anything online right now. No, he's flying under the radar.
I'm gonna hire you to help me there.
We're gonna fix that problem. But hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Always a pleasure. Always like coming up to Cleveland.
Yeah, we like having you here too. So.
All right, good luck and have a good season.
All right, you too. Thanks, guys.